Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Flags on British government buildings around the world are flying at full mast once again as the period of national mourning following the death of Queen Elizabeth II draws to a close.
Most high, most mighty.
The Queen was buried in a private ceremony in Windsor on Monday evening following a state funeral in London and military procession to Windsor Castle. But the royal family will continue to observe another week of mourning, and flags at royal residences will remain at half-mast until the 27th of September, the day after their mourning period ends. Buckingham Palace has said royal household staff, representatives of the household on official duties and troops committed to ceremonial duties will also observe the extended mourning period. The Russian separatist head of the Kherson region of Ukraine says they have decided to hold a referendum on joining Russia and have urged the Kremlin to give its permission as soon as possible. In a post, Vladimir Saldo, the Russian-appointed head of Kherson, said he hoped Kherson would become a part of Russia, a fully-fledged subject of a united country. Russian forces control around 95% of Ukraine's Kherson territory in the south of the country. A US judge has quashed a Baltimore man's murder conviction in a case that spawned the hit true crime podcast Serial. Adnan Syeds was met with cheers from his supporters as he left the court. He was 19 when he was sentenced to life in prison for the death of his ex-girlfriend, Hae Min Lee, whose body was found buried in the woods in 1999. Prosecutors last week asked the court to throw out his conviction, saying a year-long case review had turned up 2 alternative suspects. Syed will be released into home detention after nearly 23 years behind bars.
Through our review, our reinvestigation revealed that the original prosecutors and the subsequent prosecutors in the Attorney General's office failed to disclose relevant information about alternative suspects, one of whom threatened to kill the victim and had motive to kill the victim, and both of whom had a pattern of violence against women.
A powerful earthquake has struck western Mexico, killing at least 1 person, damaging buildings and knocking out power. 1 person was killed in the Pacific port of Manzanillo when a department store roof collapsed on them. Authorities also reported damage to several hospitals in the western state of Michoacan near the epicenter, which was in a sparsely populated part of Mexico. The quake was relatively shallow at only 15 kilometers deep, which would have amplified its impact. Palestinian gunmen have clashed with Palestinian Authority security forces in the occupied West Bank, and 1 man was killed in the confrontations, which broke out after the arrest of 2 militants. Islamist armed group Hamas, rival of the Western-backed Palestinian Authority, said the PA had arrested one of its senior members wanted by Israel and another gunman in the city of Nablus. There was no immediate comment from the PA, which has come under criticism from Israel and the United States for not doing enough to rein in gunmen in militant strongholds such as Nablus and the nearby city of Jenin. Local authorities say at least 14 sperm whale carcasses have been found along a beach of southeastern Australia's King Island. According to a spokesperson for Australia's Department of Natural Resources and Environment, the whale carcasses were all young males and were already dead when they were first reported. Experts have been dispatched to the island to investigate the stranding. Authorities are currently looking into how to remove the bodies, but they may be left to decompose naturally, as the surrounding environment may hamper access to tow the carcasses away. And finally, spectators defied the rain and cold in Munich to watch the traditional Oktoberfest parade. Brass bands and drummers in vibrantly coloured outfits played upbeat Oompa music as part of the parade, which is always held on the 2nd day of the world's largest beer festival. Bavarian Premier Markus Söder, who watched the parade from a stand, had campaigned strongly for the festival to happen after a 2-year break due to the coronavirus pandemic. The 187th edition of Oktoberfest ends on October the 6th. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.